On episode 28 of the Holochronicles Podcast, Josh and Andy do a little Resistance Reborn sizzle on the first 3 chapters, give a collector's tip, and flesh out one of Andy's creative fan theories for episode 9. The force is strong with this podcast. Pass on what you're about to learn. What up, Josh?
Hey, Andy. I like when the bass drops right there. Boom.
Yeah, we could totally bump this in a club.
Yeah, it makes me feel like throwing it back in the old Pinto.
You had a Pinto?
Yeah, my best bud did, and we used to throw one of those big, tall wood house speakers in.
Oh, yeah.
Had like a 15 in the bottom. Totally the wrong ohms and all that stuff.
So it was like a big Kenwood
oh, yeah.
tower speaker.
Why else would you have a hatchback except to put a giant home speaker back there that would just go blah, 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 blah.
And wire it up to like a 100-watt amp or something like that. And
just 100 watts. It was probably 20. Hit it.
All right. Little look into our childhood there, or at least our teen years.
Sure.
I had a Datsun 710. Well,
Quit bragging.
Actually, junior and senior year, I had a V-dub, I had a 72.
Of course you did.
Beetle.
I can see that.
It was
a little hippie. Did you wear the Lennon glasses and everything?
No. But I had Chuck Taylors, man.
Still there you go.
Welcome to another episode of the Holochronicles Podcast. I'm your host, Andy.
I'm also your host, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. I'd like to start today's episode by giving a little shout out to some of our followers. We have on Twitter, we've got just over 750 followers. Got a few that follow us on YouTube for whenever we put out the occasional video. Got a few, it's a handful more like on Instagram. Twitter's where we mostly hang out. But we at times, mention some of our followers throughout our podcast, some of our frequent flyers, if you will. But I'd like to give a shout out to some of some that maybe we haven't shouted out, or at least not in a while, Josh. And I'm talking to you, Rez.
Hey.
I'm talking to you, Mr. and Mrs Daft Prawn.
Both of them, huh?
Yeah, both of them.
Nice.
Both of followers, yeah. I like it when couples follow us. It's nice. Woody up in Alaska. Shout out, buddy.
That guy's cold right now.
Probably a lot.
I hope this warms your heart, Woody.
Yes. Vindiana Jones.
Vindiana.
Love Vindiana. He's a toy
just got
freak.
Liked by Vindiana like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, he's a toy freak. I appreciate him. Clownbaby.
That's an awesome name.
He's got some cool stuff. Michael Condon, the Drennan boys as father and son.
Awesome.
Really like those guys. So shout out to you guys. More members of the BMB.
Unite.
Hashtag BMB.
Blue Milk Brigade.
Yeah. And one thing that I really like about our followers, Josh, is that we have followers from all groups. We don't,
we don't discriminate.
We don't because whether, we've got new fans. Of the Star Wars stuff. We've got old classic fans, original fans, the age groups, 20s all the way through 50s. Guys, gals, from all points of view when it comes to the Star Wars worlds. And one thing that I think allows us to have followers in each of these kind of groups is the fact that people love toys, right? Toys are fun. They're fun. And it's not a hot take to like a toy or to not like a toy, because I think people who are into collecting, whether it's Star Wars or otherwise, you think you just understand that everybody's kind of into their own thing. And, kind of like the Funko motto, there's something for everybody, right? And so
there's something even for nobody. It's crazy.
Yes, there are things for nobody as well. But toys kind of are I think
toys unite us.
Yeah, they're kind of a common ground. That whether if you're a Reylo or if you're a hardliner original trilogy, and not a Disney fan, whatever. I mean, whatever your perspective is on the current state of Star Wars, there's a lot of people that can at least agree that toys are fun.
Well, I think we all share something in, like, it's it's, you know, if you look at it from that perspective, we all share something in common with toys. Especially, you know, if you want to, you know, point out just Star Wars, we're never going to be kids again. Unless you're a kid out there on Twitter, fine, but we're never going to be kids again. And so we're all connected to the feeling that we had when we first opened that toy. And especially as a collector, I know that we've talked about this before, but we're chasing that feeling. I think we talked about it with Dominic Pace. You know, you're chasing that feeling a little bit, and then you're hoping to pass it on to others and have them share that experience, you know, and or
you can get excited about when somebody else gets into it too.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. I love seeing people get pumped about getting a new or a vintage toy that, you know, that they've been kind of after. And I can relate, and I am just as happy for them as I am when I get something.
Right. So I think that's a good point. I like you pointing that out. We do have a diverse group of followers and opinions. But you know, hey, we all love Star Wars wherever it may show up in our lives, right?
Yeah. And we all love toys, and that kind of reflects how we like our Star Wars.
You got it.
Josh, I got a collector tip for you.
Let's do it.
Hello, what have we here?
Collector tip.
This was alluded to last week. As of right now, what's the date today? The 6th? November 6th?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're only 6 days away from the Mandalorian, baby.
Don't bring it up.
Okay.
I'll be able to focus.
Later. Last week, I got a new Lego set, and the Lego set sells brand new for $3.99. It's a Cloud City set.
And
it's a circular set with four it cut into fourths, where each fourth was a different room or area of Cloud City. And it has a Slave One landing pad, and it's got a little cloud car. It's got a lot of little extra, you know, doodads, and the catwalk where Vader and Luke had their famous "I am your father" spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry.
Confrontation, and there's a bunch of figures, and it's a really cool set. Well, it sells for $3.99, brand new.
Sure,
you know, and that says nothing to the tax or anything like that, shipping if you have to get it sent to your house. But we have a bricks and minifigures store in town that sells new and used Legos. And I was able to get that set because I happen to know the owner of the store. And not
previous collector tip, get to know your local
store owners. Exactly.
Store owners for toy shops and whatnot, especially the local guys. That
is very high on the to-do list if you're into collecting. No store owners. But I send them a text every now and then. Hey, you know, because you and I both have an appreciation for Legos, and especially like the Ultimate Collector series. And you know, so I just happen to send him a text like, hey, anything new in the shop, you know, just kind of, and he texted me back the next day. Yeah, I got that Cloud City set. And I was like, how much? And I had a little bit of credit there from previous purchases, and I was then able to end up getting it for about just over half of what it would cost brand new.
Wow.
And you know, $400 is nothing to sniff at.
Sure.
$200 isn't, you know, that's a lot of money to spend on Legos. But if you're really into Legos and you're trying to do it on a budget, or if you were trying to maximize how much you can get, you know, it's good. The collector tip is to check out used Legos.
Sure.
Sometimes you're going to get them already put together, and that takes away some of the allure to Legos, because I sure do love putting them together. I know.
Right. I think that's the point of Legos, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, teach their own, but it does seem weird to me to buy pre-made Legos.
I would agree with you, if not for the fact that it looks like a set piece almost. It's big. Like I got it and it was already put together.
Oh, you did. So I just stepped on you. Sorry. You didn't.
No. There are people out there that are totally fine with getting a Lego that looks awesome and it's already put together.
So on that, do you want to take it apart and put it back together, or are you fine with it just like that? Because that's actually a good question, because I don't know how I would feel finding one already put together.
Well, I think if you were to ask me what would I rather, I'd rather put it together.
Right.
And that way I could get, my son involved, and like you have done with your daughters. And that's awesome. Like, that's a really cool way to bond with your kid, and actually at the end of it, have something to say, yeah, we did that, oh yeah, we put that together. That's kind of a nice feeling, intrinsic feeling once you've accomplished something that you can look at. And, it's not that instant gratification, which seems to be so problematic with these millennials these days. But if, there's like, we're talking thousands of pieces to put together in this set. So am I disappointed that I don't get to put it together? No, because it looks awesome put together.
Do you want me to come over and accidentally knock it over?
Well, I made the comment. I made the comment to one, when speaking of being on Twitter, like when I posted the picture of it, it came with the box and the instructions.
Right.
And I said, this will come in handy for when my 3-year-old daughter eventually goes Godzilla through the streets of
T-Rex.
Yeah. T-Rex with a WREXX. Tova, when she inevitably will I it.
Sure.
So I know eventually I will get to put some or all of it back together. But no, I would prefer to put it together, Josh, to answer your question. I'd prefer to put it together from the baggies to completion. But for this one, it was such a big set. I'm not
too sad.
I'm not too sad that it was already put together, because at bottom line, it looks awesome. So, collector tip: if you're on a budget or you're just trying to find a less expensive way to get some Legos, go the used route. Even if it's missing a piece or two, buying a piece is not. It's not bad. I've done it plenty of times. And
and you can usually, especially if you get it from like the minifig store, they're going to have extra pieces. You can go back. That'll bring you back, and you'll get to see another good bargain, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's the collector tip. Do with that as you will. There's a lot of Lego fans out there.
Sure. There's a lot of Legos.
A lot of Star Wars Legos.
That's a expensive funk hole right there. What a leg hole.
Leg hole?
Yeah, leg hole. I don't know why we're laughing at that, but
I know a leg hole sounds funny.
Yeah, it does.
Actually, I thought of
some have two.
Leg holeless.
Leg hole. Yeah, no. Anyway. All right. Well, that's a good tip. I like that. That actually makes me want to go check it out. If we want to stay on Legos, just so you know, I'm currently putting together the Triple Force Friday Yoda.
Yeah,
with and it's hilarious how it looks.
The Gremlin Yoda.
Yeah, here's a cool thing about Yoda is we're putting them together, and right now it only looks like scaffolding because you have to build it up, and then you're going to build Yoda around it. Mm-hmm. But there's a part of the scaffolding. I'm saying that really interestingly. Scaffolding that has it's right up near the chest of where the chest of Yoda is going to go, and they made the bricks right there red,
like
it's his little. Well, no. Oh, like his little heart.
Oh,
little Yoda heart.
Oh, a little ET,
little Yoda heart in there. But that's just kind of the cool thing about Legos is that they hide stuff that'll never get seen in the final product. That means something. That's what I found with Tantive.
Question.
Yeah.
Does Yoda have a heart?
Of course he does. What are you, a monster?
I mean, not like the figure.
He's probably got like 7.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever asked that question.
Of course Yoda has a heart.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about it's a humanoid, basic, Yeah. Maybe it's in his ears.
Like, do you think his BPMs are higher because he's a smaller creature?
Well, that's why he's going to take it real slow in between battles, and then boom,
yeah,
all 7 hearts activate. And
he's like got an extremely healthy heart because he can go from like resting state to exercise back to resting state very quickly.
No sweat. Have you seen any sweat on Yoda either? Maybe he doesn't have sweat glands.
Maybe he's not glandular.
This is probably far enough. We need to leave some mystery to Yoda.
True. We don't need to see how the sausage is made, so to speak.
Yoda sausage.
So, Josh, we are a month away from episode 9.
Yeah.
The Rise of Skywalker.
We are.
And I was just watching some reaction videos to the first, at Celebration, the first trailer.
Sure.
God, it's so fun.
You are hooked on those.
I love them. I absolutely love them. They're so genuine, true joy. I love it. But The Rise of Skywalker, even at 2 hours and 35 minutes long, which is reportedly the length of the movie, even at 2 hours and 35 minutes, there seems to be a lot of things that need to be answered in that time, especially given. So we've gotten like 3 different trailers,
right?
2 trailers plus a D23 kind of teaser kind of mashup thing.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And all 3 trailers are very different in what they're showing and how they're showing it. And they're not, they're perfect because they're not really saying anything,
right?
But they're throwing out a lot of ideas and a lot of mystery, I guess you could say. And I just started writing down all the things that, you know, from The Force Awakens through The Last Jedi, now to the last movie, like what are some things that we still don't have closure on, or we don't have answers to, that Episode 9 needs to potentially address. And I say needs with air quotes because not all of these things are going to have answers.
Right.
But I just started writing down all of the things that we have questions about.
So you got like a top 10 list, or 5 or 20?
20. It's more like 20.
So that's what you need to do, is maybe prioritize. Like, what are the things? Is that where you're going with this?
No, I was going to throw them out there and you tell me, I don't know, let's just rapid fire this and see.
1-2 sentence answers only, or 2 word answers.
Yeah. First of all, is Palpatine in this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
But no.
Nerd. Because they definitely want you to think that he is.
They're trying real hard, which is really that's the bait and switch right there, right?
Right.
Like, they're not going to take the big reveal. It's going to be something. It's going to be, I mean, this isn't a 2-word or sentence answer, but that's why I say yes and no.
So I bring it up because, you know, we've seen a throne. We've heard a laugh. We have a
side cloak profile.
Side hooded figure,
right?
You know, but no, I mean, so as much as they want us to think, they haven't actually, and this is why the trailers are perfect, because they have just generated a lot of talk.
You don't know if you're listening to a recorded message. We got some of his wraiths that are spreading the word, you know, we don't know.
Exactly. But that is a question that needs to be answered. Is he, and in what capacity?
Right.
You know, the same with Luke and Leia. You know, how much are they in this movie and in what capacity? Because Luke is allegedly dead. You know, he's a Force.
No one ever really dies.
Right. Thank you. But he could be, you know, a Force ghost or holocron or, you know, whatever. And then Leia, of course, actually literally not being with us, but having some put together scenes, like what's her role and the capacity that she's in. Who is Zori and Janu? A couple new characters.
Yeah,
right?
That's what we need. More characters.
Babu Frick.
What'd you call me?
Come again? You know, we kind of know, at least we think we kind of know what his role is. He's kind of a little
fixer guy.
Yeah. A little hacker. We have seen Ben Solo and Rey in 3 different scenes together.
We've also seen Kylo, though.
Yes, we have.
Am I jumping you? Sorry.
No, but we've seen them in 3 different shots together in 3 different places. So they're together on screen in the trailers 3 different times.
Right.
And so that leads me to think that they're going to be on the
potentially
same.
4 if he was flying the TIE fighter.
Well, I'm including that one.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the TIE fighter, the backflip
place. Yeah.
The backflip,
Death Star.
So
that's what I say. There's Death Star outside, Death Star inside.
Yeah. And those, and plus
then White Room,
the White Room,
mystery White Room. Where's that?
So maybe potentially 4 different places. Okay. So definitely 3. So they're going to be sharing a fair bit of screen time. Now, why would they be doing that? Are they working together? Well, no, they're clearly battling each other in 1 or 2 of those scenes. So anyway,
maybe it's a honeymoon.
These are questions that maybe need to be resolved, in some capacity. There's still the question out there, who is Rey?
Sure.
Like maybe it has been answered and they're not going to go back and try to address it at all in the Rise of Skywalker, because maybe the answer, we may not, or you may not, or I may not like how it was answered, but maybe that is just what the answer is.
I feel like they have an opportunity to be like, we didn't answer it all along because it's this. That's how I feel.
Definitely.
I mean, if they want to spin it properly.
But if they don't, they can always say, that question has been answered, right? Because there are some people that have said that the question has been answered.
I see.
Now, whether people have accepted that or not, that's a different question. But, but there is that question that's still out there that maybe we'll get more clarification, or maybe it will get answered in a different way.
Right.
In this movie.
Maybe it'll just be in the scroll at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you solve some stuff.
Like,
maybe it's 2 hours and 35 minutes because they got a 17-minute scroll.
Don't underestimate the scroll. There is a lot of content in the scrolls.
You got it.
In fact, Rogue One was made from a sentence in a scroll.
Exactly.
So we can cover a lot of ground in that scroll. Don't underestimate it. All those rebel ships in that one scene, right?
Sure.
So the rebellion, or the the resistance, narrowed down to pretty much the Millennium Falcon crew at the end of The Last Jedi. And now there's all these ships. Okay. How does that happen? Similarly, all of those destroyers, those OG destroyers with the big cannons underneath them.
Now, I will say this to those two right there. I just want to see and find out. So when it comes to for me, when I saw the Star Destroyers, I'm just like, cool.
Yeah.
Show me. I even no speculation. We kind of threw out there the dead armada, and you can go the outer rim, which I
think we'll totally get answers for that.
But I just wanted show me.
It's just another question that needs to be addressed in the movie, or will probably be addressed in the movie. What planet is the Death Star wreckage on?
I don't know.
Yeah. We don't know yet.
And there's all this.
That could happen in just one line of dialogue, but right now it's an unknown. Is it DS1 or DS2? We feel like we have a pretty good idea.
It's got to be
two, but who is Snoke?
I think we'll get that, and I think it's going to be as thrown out as Snoke was himself. It's going to be like, hey, this is who Snoke was. Deal with it, and he's going to be this, the path to Palpatine.
Yeah.
But not as important as maybe we thought he should have been because of his role in those movies, his Palpatine-esque roles. Mm-hmm. And then it'll just be, he was this. He was there all along.
He was a puppet.
Yeah. So I'm excited to almost see him be discarded like he wasn't number 2.
Who are the Knights of Ren, and what's their role?
That I don't, I'm excited to see.
We only know that they are Kylo and his knights.
Right.
And
I think you get some more answers to that if we read comics and stuff, but I don't.
Yeah, a little bit. But they don't necessarily make the movies with all of the supplementary material in mind. Mm-hmm. They do try to make the movies so that just your average watcher of the movies can follow along.
Sure.
They might throw some hints or some Easter eggs or some nods to some things, but those usually aren't like major plot lines.
Sure.
That's why I don't.
But we know they're going to be in there. We've seen outfits and screenshots
and Funkos.
Lots of Funkos
with the Knights of Ren coming out. They're pretty cool, by the way. Entertainment Earth has some that are coming out in January. I put my pre-order in today. They're like,
you're a Funko.
There's some like metallic sheen. They look really kind of like.
Sure. It's the third version of the same Funko. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's the second version.
Okay.
The second. It's only
carbonized.
Something like that, but caramelized.
Caramelized.
Why are C-3PO's eyes red? Why is Rey holding a knife in the White Room? And why is Chewie's bandolier sitting on
if we're reading too much into Chewie's bandolier there. I feel like never mind. I don't feel like it's the demise of Chewie and someone's carrying his bandolier on. I think he probably figured out he never uses that damn thing and he wants to go in his birthday suit.
He's going full. He's what do they call that? Going Donald Duck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's done.
Porky Pig. Or
maybe he had to go swimming.
Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there too. It doesn't necessarily mean bad things are happening to Chewie, but man, I hope not.
Right.
It's more of a hope, you know.
Well, we didn't. Yeah. Anyway, we never thought they'd bump Luke off, so here we are.
Yeah.
Never know.
You never
took care of Han.
You know, the role of the big guns on the destroyers.
I think they'll just shoot things.
You think that's what they're for?
Yeah, definitely. Mostly at a downward angle.
I hadn't considered that. And then one
to me, it looks like a precursor for like another world, a more mobile world destroyer, you know, type of scenario where if we get, 100 of these things, we can, I don't know. But
so Death Star Light.
That's can't kill all of us, so we can split up now. Our biggest mistake was putting our big weapon into a moon size, easy to find.
Yeah, and
no hyperdrive, or did it have a hyperdrive?
It did have a hyperdrive system.
Interesting.
The biggest mistake was allowing a vent to go.
Yeah, that is it.
A vent shaft right through the heart.
Yep.
And then one of the biggest questions, like, what the fudge was up with that dark Rey image?
Now that one, just show me, because I don't get it, and obviously.
Oh, we'll find out.
Right.
Was it a vision? Was it, a flashback, flash forward? Or I have a crazy idea about that, Josh.
Flash sideways?
No, not a flash sideways. That made me laugh, though. Thank you. I'm going to take a sip of this real quick.
Okay. By the way, while we're waiting for Andy, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to fill anything in there. This
week, Resistance Reborn came out.
Yeah.
By Rebecca Roanhorse. And one reason why I was really excited to read this book, because I'm not always excited to read the books, the Star Wars books that come out. There's a couple that I really want to read. Most of them I'm kind of about. I know you listen to audiobooks a lot more. You consume those books a lot more than I do.
Yeah, but I have no recall, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I think I read that.
Yeah, pretty sure. That sounds familiar. But one reason I was really looking forward to reading this, and you and I both started, we're both 3-4 chapters in, was because with all these questions that are out there, I don't think even at 2.5 hours, the movie's going to address all of them. And so that makes me feel two things. One, they're not making the movie necessarily to appease my curiosities. They're going to hit the big stuff, of course. They're probably not going to answer everything, so the discussion can continue and more stuff after the movie, whatever. But I also feel like that they're going to try and check off a few of the boxes, maybe in a book like this.
I
Resistance
fully believe
Reborn.
they are, because I know that they checked off boxes in the Aftermath series. They're boxes that weren't specifically addressed in The Force Awakens, but if you went back and read, you went, oh, that's why that was kind of like that. I can't think of one specifically now, but I do remember having some aha moments during, the Battle of Jakku, for one.
Right.
I mean, that right there is your opening scene. So now you have a little background to back it up as far as what happened. And then I absolutely think that the books, because to your point of saying, hey, it's in the book, you may be a little clueless right now, but go read the darn book. By the way, this is Nicosphere, and books are part of the supporting cast with these, same as comics and same as
this is Star Wars
animations.
8.5.
Right.
This book is Star Wars episode 8.5 here. And for those that are listening that don't know, Resistance Reborn takes place in between The Last Jedi and leading up to the Rise of Skywalker.
Literally, they're flying away in the Falcon.
Yes. It starts off a few long days.
Right. A few long days.
After they'd left, what was the name of that planet? Crate. Yes. Thank you. And
I'll be damned. I got a planet right.
Hey, you
ding, 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 ding.
You have some recall.
Taking off my headphones. I'm out.
You got some recall, Josh. It's not just bong water and bad decisions. But no, that's my Tommy Boy reference. So I'm looking forward to reading this to hopefully check off a few of these boxes so that the movie doesn't have to answer all these questions, and we can get a precursor, like exactly what this book was intended for, right? To fill in between the two movies.
Right.
And there's 3 things, Josh, that I wanted to bring up in the first 3 chapters. And I know you have read. And so if you haven't read this book yet, we're not going through the whole book.
No, just 3 chapters.
Just the first 3 chapters. And I don't even know
if we have a spoiler.
I don't think,
other than Leia's still alive. So's Poe.
Yeah. So
Leia talks,
they're just, I guess the plot line is not a mystery. They're trying to gather up support for the Resistance.
Right.
And they're figuring out how they can do that when there's so few of them left.
But spoiler alert, nonetheless, if you want to go in completely blind, we're going to talk about it.
We are going to talk about it a little bit. So push pause, or fast forward about 10 minutes.
No, it's right. 20. No, I'm just kidding.
No, about 10 minutes. And then we'll get to,
we'll mark it for you.
A crazy idea here. Yeah.
So one unique thing about this experience right now is you're reading the book.
Yes, I am.
And I am listening to the book.
Yes, you are.
I feel like I have the advantage. One, because
why is this the high ground?
Mark Thompson is the narrator.
Fair.
Winner.
Fair. Mark is the man.
He's awesome. And I was just showing you his Poe. His Poe. That's very
William Shatner.
Captain Kirk.
But maybe when I read it, I have Mark in my head.
Maybe you
speaking
do.
it to me there.
Maybe you do. Or you could use, Poe's voice from the movies.
True.
Seems weird.
That does seem more appropriate. First thing, Josh, there's an interaction between Rey and Leia.
Yep.
And Rey's nervous. She doesn't know. She feels like she's got a lot of weight on her shoulders, being kind of the Last Jedi,
Sure.
And she's not sure how to do this. And Leia feeling the same way, but trying to keep, being Leia-like and trying to keep we can do this. We're going to do it. We're fighters and, trying to keep that, but having those same kind of doubts, just not expressing them. And they both have lost people that are meaningful to them and kind of shared experiences just at opposite ends of the timeline,
right.
Rey being young and Leia being towards the end. There's just a brief exchange where they talk about Ben.
Right.
And she says, I wanted to help him, but all he wanted was for me to be like him.
Right.
And I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was a telling piece.
Something, it was brief, but it was, and I don't have the quote in front of me, and I apologize, it's not word for word, but that is essentially what she was saying. And Leia responded with, only Ben can save himself now.
Right.
And,
yeah.
So I automatically see that as foreshadowing. Okay. Rey tried, it didn't work out.
It's on Ben.
It's on Ben now. If it's going to happen, it's because, and Leia then says, and I'm not sure it's what he wants.
Mm-hmm. Which to me is a little more telling. And the other side is if we have questions about Ben's motives, et cetera, Rey kind of confirms, because we were wondering, like, join me. What did that mean? Did that mean let's balance the Force together? We've heard of that a lot. Instead, Rey kind of points this out in the book. He wanted me to go to the dark side. Essentially,
wanted me to be like him. Yeah. I
guess. You could also read into that several different ways too.
Yeah.
Anyone can spin anything.
Yeah. However, whatever glasses you're looking through is the way you're going to interpret it.
As long as you like toys, we don't care.
Yeah. So like to me, I read that as like, I don't see or feel or anything romantic in that statement.
Me neither, but that doesn't mean that there's not room for that.
Yeah.
Just because her motivation because she's obviously worried about him because she asked about him, instead of just being like, I hate this guy, I want to kill him, or, it's my job.
A monster.
It's my job to take him out. Her first question to Leia is, tell me about, Ben.
What happened to Ben?
And
why did he turn?
And so that's not really pointing towards, not like, how do I defeat him, but rather, how do I understand
that could be, the Star Wars version of Facebook stalking somebody just to kind of get the vibe,
Sure. By going to their friends list and
checking out the friends list, looking at old pictures.
Whoa. Don't give away all your secrets.
Well, I'm not on Facebook, so come to me. But yeah, so you're right. She at least is interested in him enough or cares about him enough to ask and find out more about his story, because there's definitely questions surrounding him and what happened and why. And, you know, as the son of Han Solo and the son of Leia Skywalker, you know, those are pretty big people in this galaxy, and what went wrong, you know, how'd that happen and it's a fair question, because that happens in real life too. You know, you seemingly have parents that have some things figured out, but there's a kid that goes off the beaten path, and
sure,
everybody asks, well, what happened? You're like, well, sometimes you don't know. Like Han and Leia know, like Snoke got into his head, and maybe that was more of a Palpatine thing than it was a Snoke thing. And, you know, but he got tempted and he succumbed to the temptation for whatever the reasons were. And Rey asked about him.
Sure.
And she tried to help him.
There was one part of that conversation that made me go, what is she talking about? Is when Rey's concerned about like her role, and Leia's like, you can do it. And it was like, well, we didn't define what that role is. I don't know what that, you know, that was interesting, is Leia's encouraging her to stay strong, but we still really haven't defined, other than Rey, yes, being the last Jedi, but where does she fall as far as her role in the Resistance? Is Leia expecting her to confront Kylo, you know, in that regard? I don't know. That's, to me, was like, is that just leaving that open because we're going to answer it later? Or did we kind of just assume that Rey is, you know, per her role in the movie and her screen time, that she now has a role to fill, you know? So that was an interesting part of that convo.
You know, I think with that, we will find out along with Rey.
There you go.
You know,
but Leia's encouraging her. You can do it.
Right.
And it was like, do what? I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah. You can do whatever that means.
Because they haven't defined, like, she's on a quest to, you know, I don't really know what Rey's job is.
She's the Jedi representation of the Resistance.
I guess so. I mean, we know what Poe's job is.
Yes.
Per the next chapter.
Yeah. So you want to talk Maz or Poe next? I'll let you.
I mean, they're both kind of in the same.
I know, but they're two different angles, though. What do you want to do?
Well, let's just go in order. Let's go Poe.
Okay. So Poe, I do like the movie The Last Jedi, but one of my biggest critiques, and I've said it a few times, if you listen to this podcast with any regularity, you've probably heard me say it at least once, that one of my biggest critiques of the movie was that Poe routinely gets people killed and nothing really bad happens to him. Like, he gets demoted from captain to whatever. Like he gets basically his hand slapped, and Leia's like, oh, you know, Poe's being Poe, or, you know, that kind of thing.
Pose will be pose.
and
pose,
or, you know, that guy's trouble. Yeah, but I like him.
Sure.
You know, those kind of things, you know, and it's like, no, actually, by kind of doing his own thing, he got the whole bomber fleet wiped out at the very beginning of the movie.
Right.
And at the end of the movie, he got nearly the entire Resistance wiped out with the mutiny.
Right.
Because he was the one who gave the okay to send Finn and Rose to Canto Bight, which ended up getting DJ, you know, who turns on them, and then they wipe out all of those ships on their way to planet Crate. And that could all be brought back on Poe's leadership.
Now, he pretty much addresses that.
And I loved it because finally
he's taken ownership.
Like, all of the things that really bugged me about that. And that was honestly, that was my biggest complaint.
Is that you felt like maybe your biggest complaint, if I'm hearing you, was that Poe didn't recognize that he got Poe was still on his podium and
I got you.
And he, or pedestal, and he was, you know, like, hey, what I'm doing is right, until the very end when Holdo is,
until there's like 20 left.
Well, the plan was this, and I think your biggest argument was like, why didn't we just tell everyone the plan? We're all stuck in the same ships. What's our risk?
Well, and he said it too. He's like, I didn't trust.
Right.
But
anyway, in the book,
in the book, he's dealing with a lot of guilt because of it. He tells the Black Squadron, which are his closest,
right,
counterpart or homies, and like, hey, I did this. It was my fault. I screwed up big time. And part of the reason we are here right now is because of my failings.
Right.
And I am so glad that it was addressed.
Okay.
And we can move on now. Just like, they Snap.
So what you want to see too
Snap was like, we're not perfect either. We've made screw ups too. But damn it, you're going to be with us.
Right.
And so it seemed like it's quick and it's done with, and now they've addressed it and they're kind of moving forward. And if there's more that comes from that later, then great. But here's what I really, really, really love about this, Josh. It means you and I were right about something. About a prediction we made last spring.
No.
I feel like we're going to be just nail on the head. And it's not
redeemed, vindicated.
It's not like this is an original idea. We're the only ones that have ever said this, but
definitely not.
This definitely props Poe to take over the Resistance after Leia.
Sure.
They're propping him up to be the leader. He is figuring out how to lead despite his shortcomings, to be an overall leader and not just a flyboy, to think big picture, 30,000 feet in the air, then right in front of your face on the ground. So I feel like we were right about that.
We were, and that goes into Maz's interaction with Poe as well. That's solidified with Maz's interaction in the next topic, right?
Yes.
If you're ready, if you want to continue on that.
Maz. They're really making Maz to be the new Yoda.
Oh yeah, 100%,
100%. And it's not totally obvious in The Force Awakens.
No. Well,
I mean, knowing now,
other than her stature,
yeah, she's short, she's super old, and there does seem to be a wisdom about her,
sure,
because of her age.
But she's feisty. She's
super Chewie. Quirky. Yeah. She's kind of aloof sometimes, and she comes across as you don't want to take her seriously at first because
well, it's just like Yoda, right?
Just like Yoda,
banging on R2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yoda, you see Yoda.
But there's almost an identical scene in the book of that.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. And they're really making her up to be the new Yoda, which is fine. Sure. I'm not mad at it. And
she's her own. She's got her. She's not a Force, as far as we know. Force sensitive. Right. She's a pirate of sorts.
Yeah.
And then in Last Jedi we got the holo of her just in a battle, taking fire and talking.
Yeah. Some trade dispute or strike.
Yeah.
Whatever. Picket line. Anyway, but I just wanted to acknowledge that this is an intentional replacement to an old wise figure that is kind of quirky, but ultimately
will spin you one direction, and as soon as you go that direction, she'll flip you around and say, "That's why this is what I was showing you.
This is why you fail."
Exactly.
And yes, and you do need to take her serious, even when you don't think you ought to.
Right.
You need to listen to her. And so, anyway, just an acknowledgement that Maz Kanata. Not Kaz.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, sorry.
You had me thinking there for a minute. Like,
Maz is the new Yoda. And just to give you a little teaser for Chapter 4.
Yeah, you are a chapter ahead of me.
There is a confirmed Death Star baby in Chapter 4.
Oh, go ahead. Spoil it for me. Spoil it for me. Yes.
Yes.
Should I play the song? Should I hit the song real quick?
Do you have it?
No, I'm just kidding. No, I burnt it. It's a digital file and I burnt it.
Oh, yes. The whole mixer is done.
I get that.
No, I audibly laughed out loud in my classroom with no one around me. The kids were gone. It was at the end of the day. And I just wanted to read a chapter before I went home, and I'm reading it, and it's a new character, one that we haven't been exposed to before.
Okay.
But it says he was born in one ABY. And I just started laughing.
Death Star babies. Nice.
So anyway.
Confirmed Death Star baby. You heard it here first on the Holochronicles.
Yes. Chapter 4.
Oh, hashtag Death Star babies.
Exactly.
Let's get that going. Let's get that going. All you Twitter followers we named at the beginning of the pod, your challenge, you BMBers out there.
Well, we're at 2 right now. We're at 2 confirmed.
2 confirmed.
Ben Solo.
Sure.
Paige Tico. And now chapter 4 in
mystery character
Resistance Reborn. Go read it.
Okay.
Go read it.
Death Star babies.
Josh, where can you find the Holochronicles podcast or online entities?
You can find the Holochronicles on Twitter at Holochronicles. You spell that HOLOCHRONICLES. Whew. I typed that enough that.
Correct.
Thank you. You can also find us on Instagram at Holochronicles, YouTube at Holochronicles, and then, pretty much all major podcast networks. Wherever you found us, that's where we are if you're listening. But if you're sharing with friends, we're on lots of stuff. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, that is Apple. Anyway, other stuff. Tune in or whatever.
Yep. And we, our last pod, we interviewed Alan Voivod of the Star Wars 7x7 podcast and had a lot of fun with him.
That was a great interview.
For me. He's a good dude, and you should, if you are into Star Wars, you will love his podcast.
He's got to be in your playlist. 7 minutes, 7 days a week, 365 a year. And it's not always 7. He's been putting out some 12ers lately, which I'm fine with.
Sure. But yeah, they're quick, they're informative, you get in and out, and he was our most recent guest on the Holochronicles podcast.
Thank you.
Okay, Josh. I know from time to time I have a kind of a crazy idea, maybe a theory of mine. We do this from time to time. I've written and talked extensively about Reys Origins.
Okay. Yeah.
And how it would make a lot of sense if she was the offspring of Leia and Han. Okay. Even though it seems, the closer we get to the last movie, the more it kind of seems like it's ridiculous to me. But, the facts are the facts.
Yeah.
And it could make sense if done a certain way.
Sure.
Well, I got another one.
Uh-oh. Are you doing the multi-pronged approach so that you can be right one way or another?
If I throw enough,
right.
If I throw enough seed out there,
sure,
something will grow.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Because if you push me on this, there's no way I believe it. But I'm going to throw it out there just because there's just a hair enough. And this is, again, a credit to the trailers.
Yeah.
And to not knowing actually much. This is the kind of things that run through my head at night. Keep me awake.
All right. Let me have it. Just so you guys know, Andy and I sometimes, or most times we get on these pods, Andy likes to surprise me with his ideas. So I don't have any time to think about them, and I just have to react to his craziness
in real time.
You and I are listening to Andy at the same time, trying to wonder or understand what the hell is going to come out of his mouth
for the first time. Yes.
There you go.
Before we do that though, Josh, there was something that came out recently. We'll just tease this for just a second.
That's fine. My wife actually sent this to me, and so I found it funny, and I went and looked it up because I was showing Andy. Now I do share things beforehand, but it's a new cookware line for Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? And it's like really good stuff. I can't even pronounce it because they use it all in French. It's the Star Wars Ex Le Creuset. I'm not saying that right, but it's CREUSET collection. And they've got some fantastic cookware to add to any upscale kitchen.
Wow.
Yeah. The first is a rare beauty of a hand-painted twin sunset. Easily their best piece, and it's the Tatooine round Dutch oven.
Oh,
yes.
That sounds wonderful.
You're looking at a nice sunset color on the lid with the two twin suns adorning the side of this Dutch oven.
So like the lid is kind of more of a reddy orange and the
more of a purpley sunset purpley. Yeah.
Okay. And the bowl is kind of it's
like a light blue. It's, we're turning into the twin sunset. Imagine if you will, you're using your Dutch oven, and as you stand in your kitchen staring at it cooking through the glass of your oven,
past the moisture evaporators.
Yeah, you can just be Luke Skywalker waiting for whatever cooks in a Dutch oven, which to me is something completely different than my dad taught me. All right,
moving on.
The next fine piece you can add to your collection is Jabba the Hutt's favorite roaster. It's the Han Solo and carbonite roasting pan that literally has just like you'd expect, Han Solo adorning the lid of whatever it is you're roasting inside.
Perfect.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I'll move on from
ironically in carbon freeze.
Right.
But you're cooking something.
You're going to cook something inside and it won't be alive when you're done.
Okay.
Next is another Dutch oven. In case one Dutch oven wasn't enough, they had to go with the Dark Lord of the Dutch oven. And that's a all black Vader. Very, very classy. Yeah. Very classy. Okay, maybe you don't want all that color. Maybe you're one of those very stark kitchen type of people. Yeah. This will fit in nicely.
Very imperial.
Imperial type kitchen. Lots of metal. Yeah. Lots of stainless steel. This is the Darth Vader Dutch oven, which of course has an image of the visage of Darth Vader on the lid. And other than that, it's a Dutch oven.
Naturally.
It was inspired by the sounds of the iron casting place. And they thought we got to make a Vader Dutch oven. And then just real quickly, I don't even know what to call these. What do they call this one? It's a porg. Yeah, thanks. All right. It's a porg that you put on top of a pie and it steams out your pie.
It's a
pork pie. And then there's a few more. There's like some heating pads and all that. It's just fantastic stuff. And here's the funny part is my wife sent me the link. Now, like a lot of wives and maybe even husbands out there, my hobby is not hers.
Yes.
And she will watch a Star Wars movie if it's on release night, and I've forced her to go. And or if we're watching with the kids, she'll ghost in and out. But for her to send something Star Wars themed and say, this is pretty good stuff. I wouldn't mind if I had one of these. I was like, whoa. So yeah, Merry Christmas.
You need a new Death Star Trivet.
Trivet? A Trivet?
I think that's what they're called.
There you go. So check them out. They should be on everyone's Christmas list. Every culinary fans Christmas list. There you go.
Well, thank you, Josh.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for letting me bring that up.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I will go check them out.
I'll go back and put a point and be like, at this point, you can fast forward 3 minutes and that says.
All right, here's my crazy Rey theory for episode 9. And that is that Palpatine is not in the movie.
Okay.
He's not physically in the movie.
Right.
And that the little side profile of a hooded figure kind of mechanically walking towards Rey is actually the dark Rey that we saw in the D23 footage.
Okay.
Here's how I got there.
Okay.
Bringing back somebody that we've thought has been gone for 3 movies, since the end of Return of the Jedi, does seem, on one hand, a bit of a stretch.
Okay.
Not to say that it can or won't happen, or they could not execute that in some way that is cool. But
looks like they're trying. But yeah.
But just let me throw this at you. Throw it against the wall, see if it sticks.
Okay.
In The Last Jedi, when Rey gets up to that kind of mirrored stone and she's hoping to see an image of who her parents are, where she's from, she just gets a lot of Reys.
Right.
And there's that snap scene, and it's just a lot of Reys front to back. And one could interpret that as, as someone who has claimed she is no one from nowhere. If she was a clone, that makes a lot of sense. Clones aren't from anywhere, necessarily from anyone per se. Who knows where they got the genetic, whatever for her. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's made up of a few, who knows? Luke's hand, for example, or Anakin's whatever.
There's a lot of options there.
There's pieces of Anakin.
Easy with whatever. I think he's fine.
Anyway, but as someone who's no one from nowhere, a clone does kind of explain that.
Sure.
And the image of the bunch of Reys, from behind looking back to the future and forward, that is one interpretation of that. Okay. Another interpretation that maybe there's another, this fleet of dead destroyers, Star Destroyers.
Right.
They do need to be, if they are going to be ran, they do need to be ran by something or someone, and a Force using clone could explain, that's why a bunch were made. And for whatever reason, just like when things are cloned in other movies, there's always one that doesn't work out. I think of like iRobot,
right? Not
clones, but this a robot.
I actually think of Family Guy when Stewie cloned himself too much. Then
yes,
I can't say
a logical direction. Anyway, but there's also the scene in The Last Jedi when Luke finally goes to instruct Rey, feel the Force. What do you see? Light, darkness. And then she immediately just dives down the hole that represents the dark side. And Luke freaks out. Like, you didn't even try and stop it. You just went right to the dark side. Well, the reason being because one of Rey's biggest things, as is for a lot of people, is who am I? And she went right down to the dark side because that is from where she came. That's where she originates, out of a dark side presence, aka Palpatine contingency plan, Operation Cinder, if you want to go real deep into old stuff. But but again, that's one way you could explain it, and it does track through the movies that and there are clones in the sequel trilogy. They've been mentioned in The Force Awakens, and and so that it's a way that can be explained while addressing the origins of Rey and not having Palpatine in the movie. And the dark Rey that she faces is an actual dark Rey that she has to overcome, that maybe her and Ben have to overcome together, or I don't know. I haven't totally fleshed this idea out, but as just an idea, maybe.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it just because there are some founding facts there, like you pointed out, which are, we've had clones before. It wouldn't be a mystery that a clone, Palpatine basically won his position based on clones, right? So why wouldn't he utilize that technology maybe in some sort of contingency plan? We talked about, I think this was part of your original, was Rey's a sleeper clone, right? She's a sleeper cell. Possible sleeper cell. I like your connection to the multi views in her vision. And then to maybe have the contingency plan get enacted by the will of Palpatine. Now, what I will say is that while you say that Palpatine's not in here, I hate to try and go back to this, but I think there is still a possibility of a relic live forever, like cheat death scenario where Palpatine's trying to come back. So maybe what we're
like
seeing,
a Harry Potter kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess. I mean,
Horcrux.
Yeah, for sure. But the essence,
which is not, by the way, that is not an original idea to Harry Potter, where like the spirit, the whole idea of a mummy, right, like the spirit possesses an inanimate thing to essentially live on and come back,
Right. And so you have, the Vader's helmet, you have the dagger, that could be possible. That could be another relic or maybe a relic killer, essence killer.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, which is why she's sporting it. But again, the only thing that keeps me from really wanting to just say, we can flesh this all out, is 2.5 hours and maintaining an audience, that's not going to go, what the hell,
right. That would be a lot to throw on, right, on a rookie audience member.
Yeah. So, but then again, with the right setup, if you spend 10 minutes doing it right with, maybe a good vision of this is how it was going to be, and where you can follow that trail and in 10 or, not 10, 5 to 10 minutes, really tell the story, concisely, kind of a Lord of the Rings, beginning, like, this is how we got here. And you understood it when it was done, right? Like, so this is how we got here. maybe based off of Palpatine's reveal through a wraith or, you know, some type of stored
Sith
message.
Holocron.
Right. Oh, yeah. I still believe the wraith is what we're talking about. I mean, his wraiths that he put out and that basically enacted Cinder in his last will and testament, you know. So
we might be pulling from non-canon.
No, I think that's Aftermath.
Oh, that is?
The wraith is definitely an Aftermath.
Okay.
Yeah. And it instructs the guy there. I forget his name. Anyway, but that's Aftermath. So it's canon.
Okay.
So anyway, but again, how do we pull the audience in?
How do we convince them that this is a legit?
Yeah. And will that fulfill the Star Wars, the Skywalker legacy? So I haven't really thought about that either. You know, how does that fulfill the Skywalker legacy as in,
oh yeah, that's one of the questions. Like, what does the Rise of Skywalker mean?
What does that even mean, right? So,
and how does the Rise of Skywalker mean if Kylo's not around and he's the actual last Skywalker? Maybe
don't ask all these questions.
All right,
said he had 20.
All right,
but I like that idea. So I don't know if we want to talk about it. Let's throw it out there on the wall. I'm not saying it's right now. It's slowly sliding down the wall.
It's sliding.
But
it's like
as good as any other.
It's like the scene in Billy Madison when they throw the pickles against the window and
having races.
He called the shit poop.
There you go.
Okay.
So it's got as much validity as anything else. And they let you see Dark Rey. So I think they're maybe priming the audience for that. So it's not a pure surprise. Yeah, so what you could be seeing in these trailers right now is priming the audience for what's going to happen. So you won't be just shocked. Oh my God, Palpatine. No, we're all kind of used to it. And then, oh man, a Dark Rey. No, we've seen it. We're used to it. So now they can have a chance to make the story happen without that being the overriding surprise for everyone.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's the craziest thing I've ever thought of.
Well, that's for sure. You wore that outfit. Hey.
Okie dokie. Zinger Josh.
Yeah.
Josh 1, Andy 0. But in closing.
Okay.
Go look at some Legos on used.
Yep.
You know, it's a second hand. Not a bad way to go.
Check offer up. Check your local listings.
There's a new book, Resistance Reborn, that you should go read because it's like episode 8.5. You're going to get some backstory to the last movie, which can only be good.
Rebecca Roanhorse
can only help.
And if you're on Audible, it's read by the illustrious Mark Thompson. It's awesome.
And in chapter 4, there is a confirmed Death Star baby.
And there's a confirmed Death Star baby. Yes. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us at the Holochronicles on the Holochronicles podcast. Find us on Twitter at Holochronicles and all your major podcast networks. You guys are awesome. Thanks to all our followers that we mentioned at the beginning.
Shout out to the BNB
and many more.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
May slims.
This party's over.
What you say, Mace?
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
Oh, snap.
For your own good, stay out of this affair.
Oh, yeah, Mace. Mace talking big.
If what you've told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
It's true.